Hi everyone, Michael from Stay of the Save here. I just want to give a warning off the top. In this episode, we discuss spoilers for the entire Mass Effect trilogy. If you have not played the game before, or are currently playing it now because of the Legendary Edition, feel free to save this episode and come back at a later time. And if you don't care about spoilers, or have played the Mass Effect trilogy as many times as I have, welcome. It's going to be a fun time.
Audubon 2456.
File corrupted. Beginning recovery process.
State of the Save is back with its awesome bonus show, File Corrupted. It is good to be back in your guys' headphones or whatever you listen to. Today, we have something we admittedly kind of threw together. I'm not saying that we came up with this like yesterday and threw it together, but we did. But it's something we've been kind of talking about in the show and didn't want to take up an entire 50-minute portion of the next State of the Save show talking about it. So we're like, hey, that's what File Corrupted is for. We're talking about Mass Effect and the Mass Effect remastered trilogy that was just released. I'm sitting here with fellow Mass Effect enthusiast, Michael. What's going on, man?
Kiwasalai.
It is weird to be thinking and talking about Mass Effect again.
In the year of our Lord 2021.
Yeah, in the year of our Shepherd 2021. To be sitting here talking about Mass Effect after Andromeda that to me killed my interest in the franchise. And then this remastered pop up and I'm like, hey, I like me some Mass Effect.
It's like they announced that there was going to be the real Mass Effect 4, but it showed off Liara and everything, and she was collecting the remnants of Shepard's armor, and then there were rumors of the Legendary Edition happening, and then they revealed it, and now it's out, and it's like the Mass Effect fandom never left. The subreddit is very active. There's a lot of new players. There's a Mass Effect TikTok that emerged, where there's a bunch of people crapping on Ashley.
Which is good. You should.
Yeah, exactly. Because people realize, wait a minute, she's really racist. And you're like, we didn't figure this out 10 years ago?
The only saving grace of Ashley is
she's not Kaden.
She's not Kaden. So we're going to be kind of...
Do you like the boring guy, or do you like the racist with a personality?
Yeah, it's here's the racist with a personality, or the boring guy with headaches. Pick between the two.
Hey, those L2 mods give you migraines. Dr. Talkless will tell you about those migraines.
It's also the only thing he wants to talk about every time you go talk to him. I don't want to talk right now, Shep, I got a headache. We're going to be focusing primarily on Mass Effect 1, because, Michael, you just finished Mass Effect 1 in the remastered edition.
I did.
Correct?
A couple days ago, I wrapped up Mass Effect 1, and now I am pretty deep into Mass Effect 2 at this point. This has been my entire week, just playing Mass Effect in any semblance of free time I have.
Mass Effect 2, to you, I know it's your favorite game of all time. It's in
absolutely.
my top 5. So we got some bona fides here. We love this series, but Mass Effect 1 is the one that is most interesting to me for this remaster, because we were talking about it. I said the one thing that was a stopping point for me was the idea of going back and replaying Mass Effect 1. Because Mass Effect 2, I'll play that any day of the week. You want to play Mass Effect 2? We'll play that right now. But Mass Effect 1, I was like, man, do I really want to slog through it? Because I've played through that thing twice, I believe. And I know the second time especially was kind of a slog. So we're going to kind of talk about some of the kind of changes they've made there. My understanding, according to the developer blog that I watched, Mass Effect 1 got the most treatment.
Yes. Mass Effect 1 is somewhere between a traditional remaster and a remake. It's not a full remake. All the game design decisions are still there when it comes to the layout of places with some minor tweaks. They took out the wall on Nevaria.
Yeah,
the weird wall that made you go all the way around down the stairs. Because
they did a lot of sightline stuff too. They talked about.
Yeah.
It was before we had to break line of sight here because we needed to hide the load, but now we don't have to worry about that. So we opened up some rooms, made things a little bit more.
Now couch cushions on Nevaria.
Hey man, gotta keep things comfortable. Shepard can't be sitting on his plastic. There's those plastic little airport seats. You don't want to sit on those. Gotta get some nice, comfy things. Also, did they not? The big thing is they changed up the fact that you can now use all the weapons for all the classes.
Is the biggest change in combat. You are no longer having sniper rifles and assault rifles in your inventory that you can't use effectively.
Because if you remember back, cast your mind back to the first game. Like, if you did not have I believe the soldier class was the only one that
who could use
carry
all the weapons.
everything.
Yes.
Like, a sniper rifle was unusable.
Most of the classes, the 2 biotic classes and one of the tech classes could only specialize in pistols.
Yeah, it was like the engineer, the adept.
The engineer and adept, I believe, were only pistols. The vanguard could use shotguns, and the infiltrator could use pistols and sniper rifles.
Yes. But, like, if you wanted to use an assault rifle, you had to pick the soldier class, which also was, by default, kind of the most boring class, because it's just shooting stuff,
That's your quick start Shepherd class. That's like, I don't want to do any customization. I don't want to pick my background. I just want to go in.
I'm just going to play as... I played as Vanguard. That was my class throughout the franchise.
That's my Renegade class. Whenever I play Renegade, I go Vanguard.
Because I want to say in 2 is when you get that cool charge.
Yes.
With the Vanguard. Where
and
you can, like...
3 is where you get that charge, and then you can use your shield to slam down and make a biotic blast around you.
Yeah, Vanguard was always my class because it was the cool, let's get up into people's faces and, shotgun some fools. But that's like, stuff like that is just quality of life stuff that I feel like if you were playing this series for the first time, you would have to have that stuff. No one's going to want to go back and be like, I'm going to play this entire game just with pistol because, I'm an adept and I can't use anything else. It just, it's good to see that they realize, like, hey, you want to keep the original feel of the game, but you want to remember it the way your brain remembers it.
Exactly.
Not the way it actually was. That's like a good remake and remaster kind of, like, rule of thumb. You want it to play like you remembered,
not how it
actually played. If you go back and you play through, like, you look at like the Halo Combat Evolved remaster, where you could do the button tingle between the 2 versions, so you can switch from the remaster version to the old school Xbox One version.
I did that for every single level I walked into, just going back and forth.
And you don't remember how bad some of those geometry looked until you did that. But it's because your brain just kind of puts things through rose-colored glasses. So it's good to see that they recognize that. They're like, hey, we need to do some modifications here. But talk me through it. We're going to focus on Mass Effect 1, because I'm sure when you're done with the trilogy, we'll talk about the other 2. But Mass Effect 1, how does it feel to step back into those first-time boots of Shepard, no baggage, we're back to the basics here.
It feels really good. This was, right out of the gate, you have the option to, you have your quality and your frame rate counter. On PS5, is a weird thing. They did there's a whole table you can look at. And for PS5, it's, the graphics option is 4K 60, and the frame rate option is 1440p 60. I'm just like, because it's weird because it's running through, there's no native PS5 version. It's running backwards compatibility PS4, but there's a lot of unlocks. There's an unlocked frame rate, so you can get 60 4K on the PS5. The Series X version being Xbox and having a lot of quality of life stuff, that's a native Series X version. And if you play on the frame rate mode, you can get up to 120 frames per second. Up to. But you need a 120 hertz TV in order to see that.
Yeah.
The only benefit you get from that is less input lag, but it's not really a problem on Mass Effect to begin with.
I'm about to say, it's not like a Twitch game, that's not a game that, like...
You can pause the game to select your powers. It's not a game you necessarily need the delayed input lag from.
Some of that just seems like overkill to me, because...
The Digital Foundry video shows most of it is... There's a few areas that run at 120, but the minute action starts, you're getting about 90. And I know I'm like being like, 90 frames per second, but...
Oh, yeah.
At that point, just play the 4K 60, because... Man, those environments look so good.
Yeah, for this game, with it not being like a Twitch shooter by any means of the imagination. Just make it look pretty. Just make it look pretty. That's the only thing that I really want. There was Mass Effect 1. When I think back on my time on Mass Effect 1, and I think about the Mass Effect series in general, the characters in Mass Effect 1, there was a smaller cast, and there are some standouts. You know, you have Rex, who's a great standout.
Rex might be, playing this again, might be the best squad member in Mass Effect 1. Garrus is my favorite overall, but he doesn't really become the best Mass Effect squad mate until 2.
Well, because he has to have... Garrus's whole, like, path as a character is so critical around that reveal in 2 when you realize that he's Archangel. Because before, he's like a cop, you know, and he's got to be a little bit more buttoned up.
He's specifically investigating Saren.
Yeah.
When you show up, and then all of a sudden he's like, you don't have enough proof, your investigation's over. That's why he teamed up with you, because he was sick of his investigations constantly getting turned over because of rules and regulations. He needed Shepard because he felt like Shepard was an outlet for him to finally cut loose, break from the regulations, and be his own person.
Well, also, it's important that he can't make that jump 0 to 60. So, like, in Mass Effect 1, he's still kind of a stand-up guy, like a stand-up kind of rule-following guy for a little while. And it's not till 2 is when you see him go full-on Punisher, where he's like, no one's gonna let me do any of the things I need to do to get things done, so I'm just gonna take this into my own hands. But, you know, he's a great character, but I think 2 is when he really stands out.
And I read an article today that Garrus secretly has a hidden Paragon and Renegade counter, where some effect, not like a full-on counter like you have, but basically you have a side quest in Mass Effect 1 where you take down Dr. Saleon. He tells you about a surgeon who's been just going up and doing these sealing organs and then like selling them on the black market. So you can go and take him down, and you have 2 options. If you let Garrus kill Dr. Saleon, he becomes more ruthless in 2, and some of his lines are replaced with more Renegade-style lines. If you try to negotiate Dr. Saleon to come with you, and he runs and you shoot him, Garrus becomes slightly more Paragon, and he'll have jokey lines and replace him 2.
Huh.
And it's all consistent with Garrus's character.
Also, think about this.
I read that today, and I was like, that makes sense. I never thought of that.
Also, think about this. Like, one of the things that attracted me to this series, remember when Mass Effect 1 came out, they're like, you're going to carry over your decisions from 1 all the way through this entire trilogy.
That's what sold me into this series.
Yeah.
Being like that promise of being like, I have finally like a trilogy of choice-based games that actually have weight and a purpose. It's not just like, pick your items on the screen of the choices you made.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like a 4 list. Because there's some games that still try to do some of that. But
The Witcher
it's usually
3, did it one of the better options?
It did, but it didn't. Because I did play through The Witcher 2. And it was very like... It was lighter than what Mass Effect did. Like, Mass Effect was a pretty good... There's a pretty good amount of things you carry over into the other 2 games that start in 1. It's the one reason why, like, the concept of replaying the series and not starting with 1 is ridiculous to me, because you need to have those decisions picked. I mean, your background that you pick at the beginning of the game,
it's very important to 1,
especially in 1. Yeah, but it also doesn't have effects in some of the DLC in 2, because there's you're dealing with the what's the name of the race? The
Batarians.
Is it the Batarians? Yeah, it might be them. Yeah. Because if one of your background choices that you fought in like the
Skillian Blitz.
And that's gonna factor heavily into that DLC.
Where the Praetorians are like, we hate humans, but we really hate this
because you're like the guy who took us down, you know. So like the concept that even little stuff like that's usually just flavor text at the beginning of the game actually does carry over as to something that's DLC for the second game, you know. And then I'm trying to think back of like the cast originally. You know, you have we'll talk about the Ashley Caden problem. And Garrus is good, but he's not quite there yet. Rex comes out fully formed in my mind. I think.
Rex is definitely the strongest character on the crew because also because of he has a very good not loyalty mission, but a squad mate side quest where you go to one of the 3 facilities that they copy and paste on these Uncharted worlds and get back his armor, his family armor that was passed down.
He's like legacy armor.
And that's the one thing he remembers from his family because he had to kill his dad in cold blood.
Well, the big thing with Rex is because of where Rex will go throughout this trilogy, you know, his connections to his people becomes a big thing. And you see that a lot through when you meet Grunt in 2, because he's the completely separated from his people character, and Rex starts to take on more of like a...
Grunt only knows his pictures based on images he was fed through a tank.
Yeah. And Rex actually kind of lived it. He experienced the culture. He knows kind of the ins and outs of it. So it's important to kind of play up his legacy of those characters. He's consistently in my top 3 favorite Mass Effect characters, but I think in 1 he is my favorite Mass Effect character in 1.
I agree. As someone who absolutely loves Garrus later on, Rex is my favorite squad mate. There's a lot with Tali too, especially if you have a lot of conversations with her and delve into her side quests and really talk about the pilgrimage and everything with her. She goes really in depth into the migrant fleets.
They do a lot of tell not show in Mass Effect 1 with her, because you're not really dealing a lot with her people necessarily.
You don't see the migrant fleet, and there might be... I can't, in my mind, think of another Quarian I see in Mass Effect 1.
I don't remember seeing any of them until 2. Which is when you actually start getting into their politics and the problems that they were dealing with. Because she's very important to the story in 1, because the Geth and the Quarians have a massive history together. The Geth literally ran the Quarians off of their homeworld and ran them to near extinction. So the whole concept that this game is focused around the Geth, it's important that she's there, but it's not till 2 is when you actually see the repercussions of the stuff that she's talking about, and that you actually get to go, which is an exciting reveal when you get to actually go see the migrant fleet and you start meeting her people. You feel like, oh crap, I've been hearing about this for an entire game, and now here I am, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is it the last one? Is Asari? The Asari?
Liara Sassani.
Liara. She is...
She has a very interesting growth throughout the series, too, going from this kind of timid scientist who's seen as no more than a child in the Asari to becoming just a very interesting character, especially as the story goes on. She
gets the Garrus treatment. That by the time you get to 3, she is a completely different character than she was in 1.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but she kind of skips 2.
She's not in the squad in 2. She has a DLC that's completely centered on her, which is one of the best DLCs of all time. Lair of the Shadow Broker.
It's the best DLC for Mass Effect in my mind. It's top 4 or 5 for
either Lair of the Shadow Broker or Citadel for me. Citadel is just a fun, like, last hurrah Christmas special. Lair of the Shadow Broker is like, here's actually like an in-depth kind of like a spy thriller.
Yeah, and it was cool to see Liara, because at that point when I played Lair of the Shadow Broker, I had already played through 2, and so it's like, oh crap, she's back, and now I get to see how she interacts with all this whole new cast of characters that I have, you know?
And there's some really cool stuff in that DLC too, if you decide to romance Liara, and if you're playing as Mel Shepherd and you have a choice between Ashley or Liara, you're going to pick Liara every single time.
Because one of them is not a space racist. So now we get to the 2 characters that we've been talking about.
It's fun seeing the debates online again of people being like, who should I kill? Ashley sucks, but Kaiden's so boring.
I never knew. I think you were the first person that I ever met that picked Kaiden the first time. Because all my friends played the Mass Effect series, and no one picked Kaiden. Like, it was to the point that it literally, like, no one even knew. No one ever brought Caden on the missions with them. No one ever, like, talked to him. Like, I think they talked to him, like, once. I know one guy in particular who I think talked to him at the very beginning of the game and just ignored him the entire game. Like, he just never went and talked to him.
That's a decent reaction to have to Caden.
Yeah, there was a reason. I wonder if there was, like, you know how, like, Telltale does the, like, decision charts where it's, like, 67% picked this option, and then the other percentage picked this option, you know? I wonder if there's a chart somewhere that tells you who picked what. Because it has to be, it's got to be heavy on Ashley, because I don't, unless it's just like a local, my circle of people thing, no one picked Caden.
Well, back in the day, I feel like now everybody's, with the way the world has changed in the past 14 years, I feel like everybody has a lot less tolerance for lines such as, I can't tell the aliens apart from the animals.
Exactly.
And then you're like, hey, Ashley, do you mind watching this bomb for me real quick? Just make sure it's going well.
You just hit that thing on the head, because now that, you know, hopefully most people are more aware of the world around them and, you know, these kind of things, that they might have less tolerance for that kind of bullshit. But, like, it's almost like they went out to make the most two unsufferable characters, and then
for completely different reason,
and then, like, we'll make you pick between these two, and it made it like a choice. It made it a difficult choice, not because you cared about the two characters, because you just, who do I care about less? Like, it wasn't a situation where I was like, oh man, I can't believe I got to pick between, you know, these two. It's just like, these both suck. I don't know, you know, what to do here. And
the reason I picked Caden first, my first time playing, is because I played 2 first, and it gives you the default backstory for 1, just a default list of decisions, because I played it before the Genesis comic came out, which allowed you to experience 1 through a comic and then pick decisions that way.
Which is a cool concept.
Yeah. And that's all there in 2 and 3, so you can jump right to 2. And even then, if you do have the comic, you have the option after the opening of 2 now to just watch it and recap your decisions. You can't change anything. Also, quick tangent here, they finally have a save at the end of Mass Effect 1, so you don't have to reselect who you pick the you don't have to reselect the counselor at the beginning of 2. The game just knows, oh, you picked Anderson.
That's freaking really smart.
Yeah, because originally there was no save after the last cutscene in Mass Effect 1. So they had to put, oh crap, there's no save file with this decision here. We need you to reselect and frame it as, oh, do you remember who you picked? And you can be like, I picked Odina. And you're like, that's right, you did pick Odina, even though
everybody picked Anderson, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Keith David. If you have the choice between Keith David and literally anyone else, you're going to pick Keith David.
Let it be said that Keith David is like a video game voice acting hero.
He's Spawn in Mortal Kombat 11.
Well, he's Spawn in the awesome Spawn animation show too.
Yeah, so I'm saying they did exactly right. I mean, they could have picked Michael Jai White, and that would have been like, all right, cool. But Keith David's the better choice in that regard.
You don't want to talk. You know, here's a real tangent.
We went from a tangent to another tangent.
Yeah, here we go. You know how weird it is to watch that Spawn movie in the year 2021? Because I did it.
I bet that's really
movie
trippy.
Is so freaking weird, dude. Oh my lord! Because I also watched the animated show, which is a whole lot of boring. You know, like the Spawn comics. It's just Spawn sitting around being sad about stuff, looking cool. Like, I'll get off this real quick, but every once in a while, like, I love comics, but I love particularly non-Big 2 comics a lot. Like, and I like superheroes that are not Marvel and DC a lot. And Spawn is like one of those characters that everyone's like, he looks so freaking badass. And then you read a Spawn book, and it's just Spawn sitting on gargoyles being like, they took away my family. I'm dead. I gotta go to hell again. Oh, why?
Then when he goes to hell, it's cool.
Yeah, they like when he goes to hell, but then it's like, here's another 10 issues of Spawn sitting on buildings. That's a weird comic. Don't read the Spawn comics. Like, of those Image comics in the beginning, like, Savage Dragon's okay. And like, there's some other ones that are better, but don't respawn. It's just a cool image. Back to it. Yeah, it's weird. Like, okay, so a couple of questions I have for you, because I've played this series multiple times through all the games, and I will play the remastered eventually. But my biggest question is, I know they fixed the Mako a little bit, so it's no longer complete trash.
You can still drive it off of cliffs, and during the final chase on Ilos, you are going to run over a root and flip your Mako over. A few times.
When I watched the developer breakdown of their changes, they're like, we didn't want to completely fix it because we wanted some original feeling to how it was when we drove it the first time. And that was the one that I just looked at. I'm like, yeah, but no one had any fun. That's like the equivalent of like, we want to relive our first date with this girl, so we want to kind of remember how she slapped us in the face and told us that she hated us. But we just didn't want to completely erase that thought and memory.
I think it's better, and I think the overall changes to the Mako are good. You have a booster now.
Yeah, speeds it up a little bit.
So to go up, remember, like, driving up some of the more crater-focused planets was a nightmare to get enough speed, especially one particular planet just starts you off in a hole that you have to like basically climb your way out of, and I don't know how you could possibly do it without the booster. Because you can't get enough. Because you kind of gotta like back up a little bit on the mountain, then without the booster, ride it down, and then gain enough speed and hope that you clear the top of the mountain.
You gotta do it kind of like how in Bethesda games, how you can jump over mountains by just kind of like janking the geometry and like getting a little bit on this rock and like kind of slowly but surely walking your way up the mountain. And like none of that was fun at the time. And the fact that they're like, we didn't want to completely make it fun, just really set weird with me, where I was like,
it's a weird balance because you want to have, it is kind of fun to just speed up and drive it off a cliff and then tumble down.
Sure it is. I'll take your word for that, because I never had any fun driving that thing off the cliff. Like, it was to the point sometimes it was better to park it and just run, and not have to try to navigate some of those spaces. And then you would get to a boss fight or something that's entirely based around you having it.
Oh, the Thresher Maw.
Yeah, it's like, oh crap, you're on foot, and that thing's like 2 miles back that way.
They changed how the Thresher Maw works, too. They gave it an additional phase where he'll bury himself underneath, and you can actually see where he is underground with some rubble now. He's not just going to randomly appear up out of nowhere and flip your Mako 3 times over. But as he's doing that, he has tentacles that kind of like pop up that you have to like take down before he pops his head up again.
Like basically a different like stage of the boss.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that kind of stuff. I mean, I feel like that's the kind of stuff I wanted to see more of. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, 1, to me, I don't have any preciousness about 1. Like, any changes to 2, and 2 is not perfect by any means, but any changes to 2, like, you need to justify it to me a little bit more. 1, I don't have any, like, precious, like, we can't have you changing the Thresher Maw fight. No! Like, no, change that stuff. Make it a little bit better. The Citadel can't have windows now. No, let's have it some windows and stuff. That's the kind of stuff I feel like, go hog wild on that kind of stuff. Like I said, when you get to 2, you got to be a little bit more careful, because I don't think 2 has as many universally hated stuff that 1 does.
The main thing that I remember them saying they fixed in 2 is the rebalancing of the Paragon and Renegade system, and specifically being locked out of important choices, because the whole framing advice of 2 is if everybody in your team is not focused on the mission, people are going to die.
Because it's all a suicide mission.
Mm-hmm.
And in a game in which characters carry over into the next game, it is in your best interest.
You want that no one left behind achievement. You want
that achievement. And also, by the point that you get to that final mission, you like these characters enough that chances are you just don't want them to die.
I did see some stuff about putting Jacob through events, but
You don't have as much hatred for Jacob as a lot of people do.
He's great at from me only just playing 2 up to just past the Horizon mission. He seems like a very good character because he reflects on like the Alliance and how he went to Cerberus because of how basically the Alliance screwed him over.
Well,
and
screwed
so,
over his dad.
Mm-hmm. But he just has that connection to you of like, look, I don't really trust Cerberus either, which it makes a lot of sense that like a lot of the crew for the Normandy was handpicked by the Elusive Man. It basically people tied to the colonies that were taken away or have like distrust with Cerberus to get Shepard to trust Cerberus. It's very interesting. Like, it's a very handpicked crew of people who aren't the racist side of Cerberus, like a lot of them are, or like the weird experimental side of Cerberus.
Well, because in 1, you encounter Cerberus.
They're a side quest. They're like a string of side quests that leads to the death of a admiral as well as his entire platoon, essentially.
And it's also where you get, like, I want to say your subclass.
That's no. The subclass is from the Rogue VI mission.
Which is so weird.
The VI who gained sentience on the moon.
Which is so weird that you get a side quest is how you get your subclass.
And it's not fed to you in any way.
No, it's not like told like this is an important side quest. You just, when you complete it, it's like...
It sounds cool. It's like, go to the moon! And you're like, alright, cool, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's like now you get to pick a side quest.
And that particular side quest has very, very important implications, especially in 3.
Oh yeah, because you start getting into that. Doesn't that reference... Okay, give me a second. I gotta think about it. Does that not reference some of like the how the Reapers operate and stuff like that?
It's how Edie was formed.
Edie's
base code was based on the VI that went rogue.
Dude, like, it's so weird that wasn't like a main mission. Thinking back, like, it's kind of cool that it's not a main mission, that you kind of stumble upon it and like you could miss it. Because there's also, they put it on the moon. Your chances of going there to go do the side quest on the moon close to Earth is kind of high because it's just like, it's not a random planet. It's a planet that you as a person know and want to go, visit. But it's still weird that it's just like a side quest that you can totally miss.
I do love how, like, when you put your cursor over Earth, it's like, this is your home planet. See the Alliance guidance manual on the full information about Earth.
Yeah.
It's like, you idiot, you should know about this planet.
Yeah, it's like, why are we going to write a full codex on Earth?
But Mass Effect did teach me something, actually. Like, I saw that when I went there, it says Earth hours in a day is 23.9. I was like, what? It's not a full 24? And I looked it up, and apparently there's a difference between, like, the rotation of the Earth and position of the sun. It's like rotational days and solar days. And 24 hours on the dot is how we get our solar days, which is 24 hours where the sun is in the same spot. However, the Earth rotation speed, I think, is 23 hours and 56 minutes. So,
that's
like,
cool.
it's just...
That's a fun little, like...
Because they didn't know how to measure the Earth's rotation whenever they were mapping out days for the calendar. They used the position of the sun.
That makes sense. I mean, that's a cool little, like...
So I learned something from this game where I was like, why is it 23.9? And I found the difference between... Thank you, science class, for teaching me.
Yeah.
So it goes to show that if I want to pursue science, Mass Effect's all you need.
Yeah,
you don't need...
Mass Effect is your go-to. Don't go to school.
For every question that you have in chemistry, just type in element 0 and Mass Effect fields. That's all you need. That's how you explain all of science. Just say Mass Effect fields, and you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
we don't
it's
need
like, oh man,
how
cool.
do you go faster than the speed of light? Mass Effect fields.
State of the save is just like building out the science guy. We're breaking it down slowly for y'all.
It's just science mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to me, kind of how, you talk about the science stuff and how they do a lot of the, Mass Effect fields, or they end all be all of their science. And it's like, explain about Mass Effect fields. But this is also one of the first games that I actually cared about the codexes. These are these like in-depth codexes that go on for hours. And I read every single one of them. I mean, that's a level of
Well, you don't even need to read. You could just like have the soft voice talk to you about the history of the Protheans, and you're just like, this is nice.
Isn't it that only like certain ones are voiced and the other ones?
The main ones are voiced. The ones that appear on the side stuff is stuff that you like want to read a small section in, because there's no codex entry for what are the N7.
Yeah, it's like,
and so you can delve into like the Alliance files and be like, the N7 are like the most elite of the classes. They're all named after 1 through 26 of the alphabet, and the numbers go 1 through 7. So N7 is the highest rank that you could.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's what.
It's basically like the special forces of the Alliance.
Pretty much. So you can delve into all of like the minutia.
Well, and that's one thing I loved about Mass Effect, and I still love about it, is and it's one of the biggest steps I think they made a mistake on when they did Andromeda. Because I want to dig deep into these certain events. Like, if they didn't want to touch Shepard again when they did Andromeda, there was all these different events that I would have loved to see. The First Contact War would have been interesting.
You could have gone backwards, like even further, and talked about like the Rachni Wars.
The Rachni Wars.
The development of the Genophage.
There's no rule that says you have to play a main character that's a human. Like, the characters and the different alien races that you meet are so well defined that if you say, hey, in this Mass Effect game, you're not going to see humans because it's before humans had contact with the other 3 major races, then
pick an Asari, a Solarian, or a Krogan and play out the events of the Rachni Wars and see how they shape out.
I care about those characters enough. To be honest with you, most of the human characters are not nearly as interesting as the alien characters.
Oh, they're always the worst pack of characters.
I would defend some of them. Not in one. Both of them suck. But when you get into 2, there's some interesting...
Jacob starts out somewhat interesting, and then the main cast of 2 appears. Like, Thane, Kasumi being a DLC character is one of the more interesting humans and outshines the other human characters, I think. But then you have Samara, the Justicar. You have Legion. You have Tali and Garrus coming back. Then all of a sudden, Jacob is the guy who's like, what do you have? You have pull and throw? Yeah, I have pull and throw. I don't need you.
I never played with Jacob. I am a Miranda.
Oh, Jack is a very interesting human character to have.
Jack is great. I'm a Miranda apologist.
She's not bad.
I think Miranda gets some negative flack for some of the aspects of her character that they justify it in her story, but I can see why some people might not like buy it.
Because she has a loyalty to Cerberus because she went to them to pull her away from her dad.
Yeah. I can kind of justify some of like people's opinions are valid, but like I am a Miranda apologist. I think there's something interesting there with her, and I think in 3 she's still interesting. I think when your initial 2 squad mates are her and Jacob. Jacob disappears from that game for me. He doesn't go on any missions except his loyalty mission. In the end, Miranda occasionally would come back out, especially if I was dealing with like some deep Cerberus stuff, because it was sometimes interesting to hear her opinions on things. Like when you're going to facilities where like the facility Jax was raised in, you're like, oh, okay, Miranda might have some interesting stuff to talk about here.
Jacob's entire legacy is cheating on you if you romanced him.
Oh yeah!
And
I forgot about that.
Giving you the completely wrong information about what you need to do for the first part of the suicide mission. We need a tech expert. And he goes, sounds like a suicide mission. I volunteer. But if you do pick Jacob, he dies.
I forgot that like he literally. First of all, I forgot he cheats on you, but also I forget that he's that he freaking just straight up gives you misinformation. Yeah, I forgot about that. He was not.
And he volunteers for everything. It was like, I'm a biotic. I could do this.
Do you think the same people designed Jacob that designs Legion? Like, is it the same character designer for Jacob, or is it different people that wrote those other characters? Because I would love to know. Because I feel like every Mass Effect game has at least 2 to 3 characters that just like, I don't know if they suck on purpose, but there's nothing there compared to the other ones. And it's like, I can't believe that somebody just had that bad of an off idea for all this character. You know, I mean,
you're the same person who 10 minutes before said I like Jacob more than most people, and you're like,
no, because
what
I
kind
forgot.
of writer?
I forgot that he gives you misinformation and that he cheats on you if you romance him. Yeah, and I don't know if they were trying to be like, hey, it's a true we're getting into some relationship problems here. But when you're dealing with saving the universe.
I put 60 hours into this video game, and the person I opened up to ended up cheating on me during a war. Cool. And knocked up some other girl.
Yeah, it feels
great.
Weird.
Fantastic.
I forgot that he did that. That was yeah.
I never made that option, but I heard about it and went, "Oh
yeah,
no!"
I never did that option either. But
why? When you're playing as female shepherd, Garrus is right there.
Yeah,
and he's the best male romance in that entire series.
He was my best friend. Garrus was he's my buddy. He was my best buddy. You do the sequence when you get drunk and you're sitting on top of a ship shooting stuff. And it's just you and Garrus shooting stuff with sniper rifles, and you can let him win. And if you don't let him win, you're a terrible person. But letting Garrus win, he was like, aha! I have bested you as Shepard. It's yeah, you have, buddy. Yes, you have. Yeah, Garrus is great. You can't tell me the same person who wrote Garrus wrote Jacob. You can't. I'm sorry. Also, the advantage of Mass Effect 2 is Ashley and Kaidan don't show up but for one mission. And it's just Ashley showing up being like, I can't believe you're working for Cerberus. And it's you're the space racist.
Oh, that was one
Why are you mad about that?
That was one thing I was going to say before I got sidetracked at one point. When I first played this series, I played 2 first. And then when you get to the bit where Ashley shows up on Horizon, because it's the default the default backstory before you do the motion comic, she comes up to you, this person who playing 2, I was like, I don't know her, and she's like, you didn't contact me that you're working for Cerberus, you left me hanging, what's up? And I'm just like, I'm trying to save the galaxy here. So when I went back to play 1, I'm like, here, watch this bomb, I'm taking Kaidan, Kaidan's gonna be my boy. And then he does the same thing. He's like, why didn't you contact me? I'm like, why? What are you not talking about?
Both of those characters suck. They suck so bad.
Apparently in 3, even, it's been a while since I played 3 with Kaidan. I want to say he got better in 3. I don't know how Ashley plays in 3 because I never made it. So this particular time I played Mass Effect 1, I took Ashley. I took the space racist because because no one else is picking her for obvious reasons.
Yeah, because
but I'm like, I kind of want to see how her story goes and develops. But even 2, she says, I don't like aliens, but at least I'm not Cerberus, is what she says. I'm just like, what?
Which is such a cringy line. Yeah. I know she gets up because she was in 3 for me. She has a weird hair, a real flowing haircut in 3.
She lets her hair down.
Yeah, she lets her hair down, and they try to do some redemption stuff. But I would tell
also, if she doesn't get better, you have the option in 3 just to shoot her point blank,
which is freaking weird.
You could. There's a lot of people who I say the argument with 3 made that your choices don't really matter. I'm like, well, a lot of it depends on how you played 1 and 2, and if you play 1 and 2 the correct way, you won't see a lot of differential between Paragon and Renegade. But
correct way.
A lot of them is characters will die depending on if they were loyal or not in 2 and survived. Because if there's also I saw a breakdown tree of how that conversation between Ashley and you can play out in 3, and it's did you romance her? Okay, that's +2 trust. Did you cheat on her in 2? That's -2 trust.
But Miranda was there.
If you picked Ashley, I picked the best romance option. I always pick Liara in 1 because why else? And when I play Paragon, I'm always faithful to Liara because she's in the Shadow Broker DLC. You can have she's not absent from that game. You can still in that DLC rekindle your romance with Liara.
It's so weird. The BioWare style romance options are weird in 2021 video games.
A little bit, yeah. It's just hey, I'm going to talk to you for a bit, and she's like, I think I love you, and you're like, okay, let's.
You just talk to someone enough until they sleep with you, which is something that in Dragon Age was a big problem. that in Dragon Age there was a gift system.
You could just buy them a bunch
You
of
could
gifts.
literally buy yourself into people loving you. Like, you would just give gifts to these characters, and they would be like, I think I like you now. I think I love you now. It's a really weird system that it, like, you at the time was a big deal, because it's like, they're doing romance in this big sci-fi epic. But looking back on it now, it's like, yeah, but it's also kind of like, just be nice to people and they'll sleep with you. And that's like,
There's one weird one. In Dragon Age 2, I can't remember the context of this scene, so I'm going to butcher it, and I'm sorry. There's a mage character, and you go and basically do a side quest related to him where we go and save someone close to him. I do that. Plus 5 friendship points. He then proceeds to hit on me, which is fine, but I say, no, I'm really sorry, but I just don't see you that way. And he goes, well, fine! Minus 5 friendship points. And I'm like, what?
He's like, there's no Paragon way of saying, like, hey, man, we're just buddies, and well, I appreciate you.
If I gave off a vibe like that, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to lead you on in any way. I hope we can still be friends. That's kind of why I let him down.
Yeah, it's like,
and he was like, well, fine. I'm like, why are you getting mad at me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff there where it's like,
here's some chocolate I bought from the store. Go crazy.
Well, yeah, like, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You nicely told someone you're not interested in them, and then they're mad at you, and then you bought them a necklace, and now they're back to okay with you. Yeah, it's just like that stuff feels, because it's all meteors. It's just it's love meteors. Man, as we kind of get towards the end of this whole thing, of this, we didn't want to, hammer on this for too long, but it's been fun to kind of talk about this game in particular. One that I don't, like I said, when I think about Mass Effect, I think about 2. Did you enjoy your playthrough of 1? Was it a situation where it's like, I'm enjoying this because I know I'm setting up 2 and 3, or was it like, hey, moment to moment, boy, am I having a good time playing 1?
Mass Effect 1 was always a game I plowed through to get to 2.
Yeah, I mean, I did this. I played through it
I
twice.
cranked down the difficulty because I didn't want to see the same cutscene over and over again when I get to that Krogan Battle Master on Therum, and then you pick the Renegade option just to make it go faster. You can say, I'm tired of this idiot, and then shoot him, and then start the combat encounter that way. They now have saves after those cutscenes to where you can restart the combat encounters. I didn't go into a lot of the changes. There's a change log if you want to see it. This was just a fun little retrospective thing. This was the first time I ever cranked up the difficulty on Mass Effect 1. I got the achievement for doing a vast majority of the side quests in Mass Effect 1 because since the combat and the Mako weren't such a big hassle, and since the load times weren't such a big hassle, I was more inclined to do a lot of the stuff that I ended up missing. So I saw... Those are side quests I never knew that carry over. You can't interact with it in 2, but you can see it in the background. There's one side quest on the Citadel in 1, where you're talking about what should happen with the baby. Do you go with these experimental trials that to stop a genetic disease that the brother-in-law wants for what will be his nephew? And then you have the mother-in-law who's like, I don't want to risk experimental treatment. I just want to kind of write it out and play it as is and see, because I don't feel comfortable using this experimental treatment, even though it has a high success rate. There's a bit in 2. I can't interact with him, because I'm kind of playing out. My shepherd kind of likes the idea that he's dead. So he's like walking around the Citadel, and you see them, and they're talking about, hey, what should we get for this kid? You just see them talking, and she says, Michael, because that's the brother-in-law's name. She goes, Michael, what should we end up getting for my kid? And he's like, I think my nephew would like this. And it's just, if I was breezing through 1 again, I probably wouldn't have seen that.
It's a little ward building moment that makes you realize that, hey, something I did that was not a ward changing event still factored into this ward and still changed something.
So Mass Effect 1 is a much better game now in 2021 than I believe it was in 2007 at this point. The changes they made are smart. You can finally mark junk in your inventory then turn all of that junk in one button, press the Omni Gel. Hallelujah. It's wonderful. But yeah, I could sit here and talk about changes every day, but if the idea of going back to Mass Effect 1 means a lot to you, then 1, you probably already bought it. and then welcome to this retrospective of Mass Effect.
But
if you need a little bit of push to go back, I say it's absolutely worth the price it is. All those games are great, and let's face it, you're going to play them multiple times anyway.
Because you're going to want to play a Renegade.
You're going to want to do a Paragon run, a Renegade run. If you're like me, you're thinking, I want to do a kill everyone run, where I just kill all my squad mates and then doom the universe.
Okay, I guess you could do that. Damn, Michael.
But then you get to 2 and then realize all those characters are great and go, oh no.
Yeah, it's like,
I have feelings.
I'm not going to kill Thane. Thane's just trying to make up for his life choice.
Well, he's already dying anyway, so you don't really need to.
You son of a bitch. I'm very excited about playing through these again. It's a huge time commitment, and usually playing through RPGs more than once in this day and age in my time that I have now.
When it comes to playtime, even though I did most of the side quests in Mass Effect 1, I clocked out at about 22, 23 hours. So for a massive RPG, even though it's a trilogy of games, that first one doesn't take up a lot of time compared to, just going to throw out a game, Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, your 100 daggum hour freaking Persona run.
So in terms of like those big expansive RPGs, it's on the lighter side in terms of hours, and it's going to hook you and make you want to continue.
So big thing is, I think we can all agree, if you've never played the Mass Effect series, because I know a lot of people I've talked to who are like, I think I'm going to jump into Mass Effect with this.
And that's awesome.
I think there is some people, before this came out, I heard a lot of people talking about, like, just skip 1. I think there's enough here. No, there was. I heard some people. I was talking to a couple of people who have questionable choices in video games, but they're like, "Yeah, skip 1. Just you only need to play 1."
Was that the guy who pre-ordered Anthem who said that?
No, I don't hang out with that guy. Come on, man. I got standards. Hope he never hears this. If he did, he knew the choice. He also the guy who freaking pre-ordered Evolve. Man, come on. You think he's playing good video games?
Was it the base edition, or did he pre-order I'm going to get the monster edition?
I knew a guy, too, who freaking bought, like, every collector's edition that ever came out. And remember when, like, Call of Duty was doing those, like, $100 collector's
like the night vision goggles stuff, yeah.
Night vision goggles and RC cars and stuff like that. He bought all that stuff. And, like, when you're a young man. So, like, when I was a younger man, I was, like, teenager, I guess. It was 15-ish is when Halo 3 came out, and I bought the helmet edition. It's like when you're 14, 15, you can have a Master Chief helmet in your house. But when you're in your 30s, do you really want to have like a display case with night vision goggles and like you got limited space, man. I don't want to have night vision goggles. People are going to question what I'm doing with those dang night vision goggles. But yeah, I don't have that kind of disposable income. But yeah, man, Mass Effect.
Mass Effect.
See, I got lost in a tangent there. Man, I'm glad to see that 1 is now. I think this is the definitive way to go back to 1.
It absolutely is. I heard there's some issues with the PC right now, but PC has always had mods at this point, so I feel like this is mainly for the console players in general. Yeah, there's some really cool fixes in there. But
I feel like 1, you could have played 1 before with some fixes due to mods, and it would have been okay. Yeah, I think this is a must-buy for people. Like, if you've never played the franchise, it's a great time. It's a hell of a deal. $60 for all 3 of these things. They are on Game Pass, the original versions. But I think they've changed enough, especially with 1, to justify the purchase.
Absolutely. And the 4K on Mass Effect 2 and the 4K 60 in Mass Effect 2 is absolutely gorgeous if you have the hardware for it.
The DLC is...
The DLC is only... That's what made my friend buy it, because he has a base Xbox One, so he wouldn't have the, like... He doesn't have a 4K TV. The Xbox One can't output the 4K. So he's like, I have all the trilogy games. And he's like, wait, does it come with all the DLC? It comes with all the DLC. And he never played any of it. So he's like, oh, I never played Shadow Broker. I never played Citadel. I never played Leviathan. I never played the extended cut. And I'm just like, and then he bought the collection day 1.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah,
that's enough.
I told him if you bought all of the DLC for Mass Effect 2 and 3, that would be like twice as expensive as the game itself.
Yeah, it's
even in 2021. Like,
It's still expensive. I haven't looked at it on the store in a long time, but
Citadel's still $15.
yeah, if it's Citadel's 15, I bet you Shadow Broker's still like 20.
10, yeah.
10, 15.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I can't
whatever.
remember how much I paid for that.
It's enough. It's
800
enough.
Microsoft points.
Yeah, God knows what's 800. What with inflation? What is 800 Microsoft points? You know, no.
Is that a cryptocurrency now? Can I buy that on the dark web?
Use freaking Bitcoin or Dogecoin. I would like to use my Dogecoin to buy Shadow Broker.
To buy Microsoft
That is
points.
the only way to buy Shadow Broker. Think about that.
Whoa, that makes sense if you use a cryptocurrency to buy the Shadow Broker DLC.
If you bought Shadow Broker with Dogecoin, that's actually staying in. That's some
that's some canon stuff right there.
That's some canon stuff. Oh man, wouldn't it be funny if like when you like one of the terminals in Shadow Broker, like you checked it and you realized Shadow Broker does all his transactions in Dogecoin, and like and they could just be like his you could just put a little reference in there where it's like Shadow Broker 5,000 Dogecoin to E Musk, and just Elon Musk is really the Shadow Broker in the Mass Effect universe. Oh. It's been a long day, and I've been dealing with allergies, so I apologize. I think we're good, man.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was a good conversation.
Mass Effect, really good, turns out.
Yes, Mass Effect is a freaking fine quality video game and a great series.
If you love this series, let's face it, you already bought it. If you have some skepticism but have played the game before, I would definitely say buy it. And if you are new here and never played the game before, I'm sorry for all the spoilers.
Yeah, we should have probably put a tag on it.
We'll put that in the description. Like, hey, spoilers for the Mass Effect trilogy.
I got knocked out on Friday. So
he did.
Yeah, I got knocked out on Friday. So if I like left off all the like state of the save normal stuff at the beginning of this, just blame it on the concussion. But if you would like to talk to us and say, Eric, don't do shows on freaking sinus medicine and being unconscious for a little while, you can send those emails to stateofthesave@gmail.com. You can also hit us up at State of the Save on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We have some exciting news to share with you that we're very, very excited about on the next episode of State of the Save, which will be part 1 of our playthrough of Bully.
And just a reminder that it's chapters 1 and 2 of Bully.
Me and Michael have played through chapter 1 already. We're playing through 2 to get ready for next week. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell everybody. The more we grow the show, the more cool stuff we get to do. And you can get more of these crazy foul corrupteds where we're all high on freaking Sudafed and stuff like that because, boy, our allergies a terrible thing this time of year.
The best podcasts always begin with a concussion.
Yeah, it was great. I'm like 2 days off of it. I'm fine. I'm going to listen to this show on Tuesday before it posts, and it's just going to be me for like 50 minutes just rambling on. And I thought I talked about Mass Effect. Are you here, Michael? Michael's like, we didn't do a show, Eric. I don't know what you're talking about. Nah, y'all stay safe out there. We'll see you next week for part 1 of the Bully episode. And, if you did not get a chance, Bastion dropped last week. It's a great show, great episode, really, really high quality. And due to some of the weirdness with iTunes, Resident Evil Part 2 is now showing up for non-subscribers on iTunes also. So if you missed that episode, you want to go back and check that out also. That's another really, really solid episode.
iTunes seems to be fixed. We're showing up. All our episodes are there.
So you should be receiving all your episodes. But the easiest way to, not miss an episode is just subscribe. So that way you won't miss any of the cool shows that we put out. Once again, thank you guys. Stay safe.